Welcome to the Homestead. Today I thought I would show you a few of the off-grid kitchen tools that I use on a regular basis. Now, the first part of the video will be the things that I use instead of a lot of the typical electric equipment in most kitchens, and then the second part of the video I'll show you the electrical gadgets, I should say, that I feel are necessary for me and that have improved my cooking ability even while being able to use solar. So let's get started. The first kitchen gadget I'm going to talk about is the Coffeemaker. Now, if you're like me, this is probably the number one thing in your kitchen. It gets used every single day. We make coffee a little bit differently. We have a teapot, and it gets boiled every single morning, and we use a ceramic coffee cone. Now, how this works is that you have your filter of coffee grounds, just like a regular drip coffee maker, and it sits inside the cone on top of your coffee mug. You pour in the boiling water all the way to the top of the filter, and as just like a regular drip coffee maker, the coffee filters down through the holes in the bottom of the coffee cone. Genius. I love this thing. This is our coffee every single morning. So I feel like the second thing used in most kitchens is a microwave. It probably gets used regularly throughout the day. We actually have not had a microwave, oh gosh, I don't know, probably at least 10 years now, even before we moved off grid. So we kind of used to that already. But for a microwave, it's pretty simple. Just put your food in an oven-safe pan, stick it in the oven, and you're good to go. Or what we often will do is use the stovetop. If I'm using the stovetop, I'll add a little bit of water to the pot that I'm heating up the food in just so it doesn't stick. Mix it around, good to go. I know a microwave is convenient, but it is really possible to function without one if you're interested in doing that. Most electric kitchens that I've seen have a toaster or a toaster oven sitting on the countertop. This used to be me when I lived in an electric house, and I loved my toaster oven. It was probably the one thing in the kitchen that I was kind of iffy about. How can I function without my toaster oven? But I've learned to use the oven. This is a propane gas powered oven, so it's completely off grid. It's not connected to any utilities. And I've also learned to use my cast iron skillet. Now, if you have not ever toasted bread in a cast iron skillet, you really should try it. I think it's fun. You don't have to put any oil or butter in anything. Use a completely dry skillet. Put your toast in. Toast it, just check it to see how dark you like it. Flip it over, same thing, done. It's really easy to toast bread in a skillet. The fourth thing I want to talk about is the crock pot. Now, I loved my crock pot. I used it all the time, especially as a busy mom. It's nice to be able to just fix dinner, have it done, plug it in. Well, this is my off-grid, non-electric crock pot. This is my favorite Dutch oven, and I love to use an enamel Dutch oven as a crock pot because usually what I'm cooking in here has a lot of moisture, and I really do not like cooking any kind of foods that are watery in like a camp style Dutch oven, something that doesn't have an enamel finish on it because it gets rusty. So I feel like it's really worth it to cook watery foods in an enamel Dutch oven. Now, this one has seen a lot of use. You can see it's pretty stained. But what I do with my Dutch oven is that I heat up my food to boiling. And then once it's boiling, I turn my heat either very low, or I put my Dutch oven in a box, wrap it really tight with blankets and towels, and that food will literally cook all day because the pot will stay hot. The second thing I do with my Dutch oven is if it's wintertime and I have a fire going on my wood stove, I will set my Dutch oven on top of a trivet on top of my wood stove. And that's the way it will slow cook all day. The fifth thing I want to talk about is the Instant Pot. Now, I have seen this a lot in the last few years. Definitely after we moved off grid, I had never seen one before that, let alone had one. But they're becoming very popular right now, which I think is cool because pressure cooking has been around for generations. My mom actually had a pressure cooker when I was growing up, so I was very familiar with pressure cooking because of its ability to tenderize meat. That was what we used it mostly for. So the Instant Pot has become popular, which, you know, I think that some people think it's a new technology, which it's actually not. It's pressure cooking taken to the next level, like really, really cool that you don't have to sit and watch your pressure cooker. You never have to adjust the temperature, listen to the wobble. You know, you don't have to do any of that, which is very, very convenient. So I'm a little old-fashioned and I just use a regular pressure cooker, but it works really well. I use it here on my propane stove, and I've also used a pressure canner outside on the wood fire. So in whatever situation I'm doing, I can use heat to make my pressure cooker or pressure canner work. So now I'm going to show you my electric gadgets for the kitchen, and all of these I'm able to power with our solar. Now, I went without any electricity in the kitchen for 2 years at least, I think. So I was very familiar with cooking without any electricity at all, but these are the 3 things that just made my life better in the kitchen. And after going without electricity for a while, I realized the things that I absolutely wanted to improve my quality of cooking. The first thing that I use that I'm able to plug in actually to an electric socket here in the house is my Nutri Mill. This grinds up my grain. So some of you may have seen videos in the past of me milling grain. So it just gets put in this little hopper. It mills it up really quickly, sends the flour into this opposite container. That way I'm able to mill all my whole wheat flour myself. The second thing that has improved my cooking is not really cooking related. Is the magic bullet. Now, this just gets used for smoothies. We love smoothies in the summertime. It's a real treat. The boys love it. And so the magic bullet is definitely a must in my kitchen because I have solar now. The third thing is my newest electric kitchen gadget, and I've already fallen in love with this. I love it so much. This winter, I'm using it for soup a lot because I love the creamy soups, and you can do that with an immersion blender. If you don't have one of these, come out and get one. They're so cool. I love it because you can stick it right in the pot. I also love this thing for making mayonnaise. It makes mayonnaise very simply. Salad dressing. We love raw garlic in our salad dressing, so I'm able to put the whole cloves down in the jar, mix it around, and it mills up all of the raw garlic, puts it into the salad dressing. Now in the summertime, I'm really looking forward to being able to use this to make salsa, because I had been using a food processor to grind up all of my tomatoes so that it was a smoother salsa. Zach doesn't like big chunks of tomatoes in his salsa, which was kind of labor intensive, you know, pouring the tomatoes in, pouring them out, back and forth. I'll be able to use this in my big pot of tomatoes and make quick work of it. So these are the 3 things that our solar power is able to handle at this point. Now, I am not using these on a regular basis, you know, like every day. I would never pull all these 3 things out and use them throughout the day. They're just like, you know, a couple minutes. You know, it takes a couple minutes to make a smoothie, or even less. And the same for this. And I do 1 batch of milling grain per time. so that I'm not running this constantly. And that's what our solar is able to handle now. Now there are a lot more electric gadgets, like a bigger blender. I know there are so many great blenders on the market. I just, at this point, do not have solar to be able to handle something like that. So the Magic Bullet is my go-to for anything that I would need to blend. So these are my off-grid kitchen tools. I hope that you've gotten some tips. Maybe something that has resonated with you that you can do differently as you cook. But in any case, please leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see you next time on the Homestead.